one verse in your hearing, one verse. And then from there we will hear what the Lord has to say as a healing word for hurting hearts. Just quietly, reflectively, I hear this. A certain man, Lazarus, was ill. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. A certain man, Lazarus, was ill, and he was from Bethany, which is the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Word of God for the people of God. A healing word for hurting hearts. As it came time to prepare for this morning's message, I found myself doing a lot of thinking and reading, particularly reading from one gifted writer, one of the greatest writers, I believe, Christian writers of our generation, on certain topics, and her name is Barbara Brown Taylor. Barbara Brown Taylor is a phenomenal writer, and she actually is a blessing to our denomination body. She teaches right now creative writing in English at Piedmont College, which is affiliated with the United Church of Christ, and her writings are just phenomenal. And in one of her most recent books, she talks about learning to walk in the dark. It's the name of her book is Learning to Walk in the Dark. If you ever get a chance and you got a few extra dollars, please pick up Barbara Brown Taylor's Learning to Walk in the Dark. And part of the reason I say that is because what she does in that book is she helps us to recognize the ways that we live often a life antithetical to the life of Jesus. That often the way we live is directly the opposite of the way Jesus lived. And I'll tell you what I mean. She lifts up the fact that we are often afraid of and veer away from the darkness. When you talk about darkness, she means, yes, physical darkness, but even more, she talks a lot about emotional darkness. She talks about dark situations and dark emotions. We tend to fear and do everything we can to get away from the darkness. We don't do well with those dark emotions like grief and anxiety and uncertainty. We don't do well with those moments of depression. We don't do well with those times of searching and learning and yearning in the dark. But what she does throughout this book is she helps us to understand that much of what we learn and much of how we develop in life, it happens in the dark. As a matter of fact, one of the best lines she has in her book says, "New life starts in the dark." Whether it is a seed in the ground, a baby in the womb, or Jesus in the tomb, it all starts in the dark. And what Barbara Brown Taylor helps us to understand is that oftentimes while we are running away from darkness and dark places and dark emotions, Jesus is often found running to the darkest points. Here in the book of John, chapter 11, we find that Jesus is doing what he so well does, which is running not away from, but to a dark situation. Scripture tells us throughout John chapter 10, he has been in in Jerusalem, teaching and preaching and doing great ministry. And then at the very end of chapter 10, the last couple of verses, he goes over to the Jordan, where John the Baptist had done baptizing. So he leaves Judea proper and goes on over to the Jordan. But then in John chapter 11, something happens. A certain man named Lazarus becomes ill. Now, if we know a little bit about our Bibles, we probably know that Lazarus is a friend of Jesus. Lazarus is a beloved one of Jesus. As a matter of fact, Lazarus and Jesus are such good friends that a few chapters before, we find Jesus, when he's in Bethany, going and lounging at Lazarus' house. Lazarus, Mary, and Martha, they're Jesus' friends, and when he's in their part of town, he doesn't go by without going and having a meal. He doesn't come through Bethany without going and sing about them, because Jesus loves Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. And John chapter 11, verse 1 tells us that Lazarus in Bethany becomes ill. And it tells us that this is not just any old Lazarus, but this is in fact the one whom Jesus loves. As a matter of fact, verse 2 tells us it's the one whose sister anointed Jesus with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair. Y'all know the story. We love that story in the text, and we love that song, Alabaster Box. That song tells us about part of his heart. Jesus loves these folks. But in John chapter 11, even these people who Jesus loves find themselves in a dark situation.
Yeah.
Isn't it something that being connected to God does not exempt you from the darkness?
Yeah.
Even though this is a household that Jesus is a part of all the time, even though these are people who know him, who have the revelation of who he is, and we see that more and more later in the chapter, they are not exempt from sickness and even death. Text tells us that the one you love, they say to him, is ill. And then what happens when we get down to verse 4? When he heard this, Jesus said, this illness is not fatal. It's for the glory of God, so that God's Son can be glorified through it. Let's not miss what happens. And what happens is that Jesus gets word of Lazarus' sickness, but he gets word because the household sends a messenger to where he is. And when the messenger gets to Jesus, they let him know, your friend is ill, and Jesus sends back a word of encouragement.
Yeah.
This will not be unto death, but it shall glorify God. And so the messenger takes it back to Mary and Martha. And can you imagine their excitement?
Yeah.
When they hear from Jesus that though our brother is sick, he's not going to die. This is not unto death. This will glorify God. Can you imagine how happy they were when they got a word from the Lord?
Yeah.
But there's a problem in the chapter.
Yeah.
Because even though Jesus says to the messenger, tell them this sickness is not unto death,
Yeah.
a few verses later, we find them at a tomb.
Yeah. That's right.
Lazarus does die.
Yeah.
And it's hard to understand how it is that when we have what we believe to be a promise from God, we can stand outside of a tomb anyway. The sisters find themselves staring at a promise from God that seems to be untrue. Jesus, who is the Son of God, Jesus, who is the fullness of God, has said this sickness is not unto death. Yet Lazarus lies dead. I'm skipping a little bit because I don't have a lot of time this first Sunday, but I do want to let you know this. These sisters have trusted Jesus. They love Jesus. They serve Jesus. They fed him with their own money. They worshiped him. They washed his nasty feet with their hair. And Jesus tells them something, and it turns out seemingly to be untrue. This sickness is not unto death, he says, yet their brother died. And because it happens, what happens? Jesus' disciples are confused. I'm going to tell you how we know that Jesus' disciples are confused. Let's go to verse 12. Verse 12, the disciples said, Lord, if he's sleeping, he will get well. Because, see, Jesus had told the disciples that Lazarus is sleeping. And because he said that Lazarus is sleeping, they assume that must mean that he just means he's literally taking a nap. That there's nothing wrong with him. He's just asleep. And they believe this because Jesus has already been reported as saying this sickness is not unto death. So the disciples figure he must be asleep. And Jesus says, no, you're not getting what I'm saying. He is dead. Verse 14, the same mouth who said this sickness is not unto death, in verse 14 says, Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus has died. But then something interesting happens. Verse 15, Jesus says, for your sakes, I am glad that I was not there, so that you may believe. Now let's go to him. Let's break it down just a second. What does he mean, I'm glad I was not there? Well, there are some immediate low-hanging fruit that you often hear preached, but let's go deeper into the text. We have to understand a little bit of the historical, religious, and cultural context to understand part of what Jesus is saying. When he says it's good, I was not there. When he says it's good, I had gone over to the Jordan and was not there in Judea where you could get me immediately. Part of what he's saying is, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to make sure you know I'm not just like everybody else. What do I mean? Well, in the first century, Jesus is not the only one who was claiming to be a miracle worker. There are plenty of folks who are running around saying, I can do miracles, follow me. There are plenty of people who are saying that if you just trust in me and give me probably the equivalent of $9.99, I'll be able to save you. That if you follow me and if you try to make me the king, I'll take over Rome. I'll give you power. There are plenty of can make some promises. As a matter of fact, early historians say that there were some people who were miracle or magic workers. That antiquity records that there were people who apparently made claims to heal folks, and as far as folks believe, they actually did heal. That there were people who were able to seemingly do things similar to what Jesus did.
All right.
So you have to understand that if the historical context is that Jesus is one of many people claiming to be miracle workers and claiming to be anointed by God, then it's easy if Jesus lays his hand on Lazarus on his deathbed and raises him up. It's easy for Jesus to be seen as just like everybody else. Some would undoubtedly say, well, that was nice, Jesus, but John such and such over in Bethlehem, he did the same thing. Jesus was not the only one claiming to have power.
All right.
And so what Jesus does is, though Jesus is in Judea, I want you to catch this, he's in Judea in chapter 10. And Bethany is a part of Judea. He goes over more to the Jordan, away from where Lazarus is. And he gets the message while he's away from where Lazarus is. And he tells the disciples, it's good that I'm away, because he wants some time to pass before he comes back to Bethany and to Judea.
All right.
He wants, as a matter of fact, 4 days to pass. Why 4 days? Well, we see that 4 days pass between the time Lazarus dies and Jesus gets there, and that also is something that we have to account for the culture to understand. See, there was a superstition in early Judaism that when somebody died, the soul stayed around the body for a few days. That the soul kind of hovered around in the ether, in the atmosphere, and they believed that it was not without the bounds of possibility for somebody to be resurrected. Because the body and the soul were not completely separated. That the soul was almost like a cartoon. You ever seen a cartoon character where one little cartoon mouse dies and then a little bird in the mouse floats up into the air? This idea that the soul stays close to the body, and so their superstition was that if on the first day or the second day somebody got up, they could explain that away. Well, superstition tells us that's possible. So put it together. Jesus is making it so that when he does what he does, nobody can say it was anything but God. Nobody's going to be able to say he's just another miracle worker, because people have worked miracles, but nobody's lifted nobody from the dead. People won't be able to say, well, superstition did that because after 2 or 3 days the body was decaying. And it was no longer possible, even according to their superstition, for the person to come back. So when Jesus shows up on the 4th day, what he does is he shows up so late that everybody in the temple, everybody in the city, everybody in the house knows nothing can be done. Jesus waits until the moment that everybody says that house will not see restoration. Jesus waits to the point where nobody has any more faith. And that's when Jesus walks into Bethany. And when Jesus gets to Bethany, what happens is, before he can even get to the house, the sister runs out, Martha. And she says to the master, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have died. But then she says something interesting. She says, even now I know that whatever you ask God, God will give you. So you have here a revelation in what she says of how it is that we are dichotomous people. What is a dichotomy? A dichotomy means that we are sort of sliced into two. We have two natures, two halves. That there is a part of us, particularly in the hardest moments, that fills with grief and that at the same time holds on to faith. That for those of us who have the revelation of who God is, even in the hardest of moments, we are able to speak faith, but that faith is mixed with a little bit of fatalism. That faith is mixed with a little bit of uncertainty. That we never get to a point that we can be in the darkness of death and not be touched by it. This woman, when she's touched by the darkness of death, she is impacted. She knows who Jesus is. She says, God, I know God, the Father will do whatever you ask him to do, Jesus. But she still starts off by saying, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Even that word of faith, because that's a faith-filled statement, is swinged with pain. So often we are taught in the churches of today that our faith ought to never have a twinge of pain in it. But the reality is that Jesus understands that even those of us who have been built on a foundation of faith still get impacted by darkness. The darkness is such that even if you know God is there, darkness has a way of making your eyes play tricks on you. That even if you know that God is able, darkness has a way of still causing you not to be able to see past what you're in the moment. That there's something about darkness that causes our faith in God to be obscured. Woman knows that he is who he says he is, but she still has some pain in her heart. And so what does Jesus do as a result? I'm almost done. He says to them what? Let's go on down to verse 25. He says a lot of things, but in verse 25, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Here Jesus makes a faith declaration that he is whom he says he is. Here Jesus declares before her that the truth is still the truth, even in the midst of the darkness, but he still offers her an opportunity to accept or reject. He asked her, son, daughter, do you believe this? And he's asking us today, daughter, son, do you believe this? Jesus knows that just doing a good sermon and saying a good word doesn't always automatically change somebody's mind. He leaves space for her to question.
That's right. That's right.
I am the resurrection. I am the life. But do you believe this? I want to know if what you've heard has transformed you completely. And what does she say? She replied, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, God's Son, the one who is coming into the world. And she's already said earlier in this, he said, your brother will rise again. And she said, I know that he will rise in the resurrection on the last day. And so a pattern is happening. This woman is clearly in grief, but she keeps on spouting little pieces of theology that she's heard along the way. She's in a hard place and doesn't really know why and doesn't understand why she's weeping and wailing, so much so that her sister is running and she's about to ask the same question. They are both heartbroken, but instead of acknowledging fully where they are, it's almost as if she's been in XYZ church where they tell you you ought to fake it till you make it. She finds herself declaring little bits and pieces of Sunday school theology, of Bible study theology, of Sunday morning Bible drills. She finds herself in the midst of a situation where she ought to acknowledge the darkness, but instead she tries to bandage it up with a few words here. Lord, I know that you will resurrect in the last day. I know that you are the Lord. And it's interesting because every time she does that, if you pay attention, Jesus tries to speak to her a word of more full revelation that will cause her to recognize that what matters is not what you learned about the future, but that my love is present right now. She says, I know he will be resurrected in the last day. He says, no, I am currently right now in front of you, the resurrection and the life. Jesus is trying to get her to understand that the word that is here for your hurting heart to heal it is not just what you learn about that place beyond the river. It's not just what people told you you'll get if you live right for 40 more years. But I come to tell you that I am all that you've been looking for. I am here. And it is never the desire of Jesus Christ to tell people, continue waiting in the midst of darkness and eventually you'll see some light. It's never the desire of Jesus to tell people to hold your head up high in hell and one day you'll make it to heaven. But Jesus always has a word of love and strength that ought to operate right now. He doesn't say I will be what you need. He says I am the resurrection and the life. And so what happens, they get that word, they get that thing, and one of the sisters seems to be encouraged, but before Jesus can finish counseling her good, the other sister runs from the house. And the other sister says, that Jesus has just dealt with Malchus. Mary comes when she's told that the teacher is here, and she says, Lord, if you had been here, verse 32, my brother wouldn't have died. So Jesus finds himself standing in the midst of their pain, representing the love and the goodness of God, representing resurrection and life right in front of them, and he does all he can to get it into one sister's mind, and then he has to deal with another sister who's not yet been transformed.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Can you imagine being the Word of God, the very Word of God, and speaking comfort and healing to one, and before you know it, before you get done with her good, another one comes, a tragedy. Can you imagine what it's like to be a parent and to lose one, and before you know it, here comes another one?
All right.
Do you know what it's like to be in a community and one gets shot down, and before you can bury them good, the next one is dead? Have you ever had the experience of having one crisis hit you and rock you to the core, and before you can write the ship good, another bill goes past due? Have you ever been in that place where you got one relationship together, and before you knew it, the rest of the family was at each other's throat? Have you ever been in that place when it seemed like as soon as you finally get some peace, finally get things in order, finally turn things around, another one comes at you? Jesus is in the midst of a situation where he has a word for the world, but his humanness is bombarded with the replicable evil and sadness and lack and darkness around him.
All right.
One sister gets right and then another, and he knows there's a whole bunch of more folks there in the house waiting, and Jesus does something unique here. Something that he does when he looks at Jerusalem and sees that they are like sheep without a shepherd. He does it when he sees these sisters and sees that they are now alone without their brother. Jesus weeps. And I'm so glad in my soul that the Bible took time to record that little two-word phrase. It's one word in the Greek, but that two-word phrase that Jesus wept. I'm so glad to know that the love of God is so great that even after Jesus tells us the truth, he is not above weeping while we get it. Let me say that again. That even when God declares that he is the resurrection of the life, that even when we are told that it is not unto death, that even when we have a promise from God, and in the moment it doesn't look right, he's not above weeping until we get there. He's not above weeping with us as we weep. He's not above being in the place of mourning as we mourn. And so into one sister's mind, and then he has to deal with another sister who's not yet been transformed.
That's right. That's right.
Can you imagine being the Word of God, the very Word of God, and speaking comfort and healing to one, and before you know it, before you get done with her good, another one comes, a tragedy. Can you imagine what it's like to be a parent and to lose one, and before you know it, here comes another one?
All right.
Do you know what it's like to be in a community and one gets shot down, and before you can bury them good, the next one is dead? Have you ever had the experience of having one crisis hit you and rock you to the core, and before you can write the ship good, another bill goes past due? Have you ever been in that place where you got one relationship together, and before you knew it, the rest of the family was at each other's throat? Have you ever been in that place when it seemed like as soon as you finally get some peace, finally get things in order, finally turn things around, another one comes at you? Jesus is in the midst of a situation where he has a word for the world, but his humanness is bombarded with the replicable evil and sadness and lack and darkness around him.
All right.
One sister gets right and then another, and he knows there's a whole bunch of more folks there in the house waiting, and Jesus does something unique here. Something that he does when he looks at Jerusalem and sees that they are like sheep without a shepherd. He does it when he sees these sisters and sees that they are now alone without their brother. Jesus weeps. And I'm so glad in my soul that the Bible took time to record that little two-word phrase. It's one word in the Greek, that two-word phrase that Jesus wept. I'm so glad to know that the love of God is so great that even after Jesus tells us the truth, he is not above weeping while we get it. Let me say that again. That even when God declares that he is the resurrection of the life, that even when we are told that it is not unto death, that even when we have a promise from God, and in the moment it doesn't look right, he's not above weeping until we get there. He's not above weeping with us as we weep. He's not above being in the place of mourning as we mourn. And so as I come to my close, I'm going to cut across the field and just go to the closing illustration because I got about 30 more minutes, believe it or not. When Jesus sees the pain in the eyes of his people, when Jesus comes into contact with the fear of his people, Jesus does not upgrade them. Jesus does not make them feel unfaithful. Jesus does not give them scriptures on what they ought to do and how they ought to think better and how they ought to access by faith and they ought to be able to declare and say it and it will be so. No, when they find themselves in the midst of gross darkness, Jesus weeps with them. But Jesus does not weep out of fear. Jesus weeps out of compassion. I pray that this word blessed you and continues to bless you all week long. As we prepare to go down from this place, but never from the presence of God, I pray that you are blessed by the worship. I pray that you are blessed by the word. And above all, I pray that you would allow this to walk with you all the days of this week. Never forget that Jesus weeps with us and Jesus weeps for us, but he does not stop at weeping. He gets right there with us and he restores and he redeems and he brings life where there is death. I pray that all week you'll be blessed by the word. Remember to love somebody, reach out to somebody, share the love of Jesus Christ. Now unto him who is able to keep us and present us faultless before the throne of grace, may his spirit abide with each and every one of us until we meet again. Go in grace, go in peace, and go knowing he's right there with you in the midst of your dead situations.